Hello everyone, it's Crystal Ether here. Keith and Gast are here to punch out the competition with new passion attribute cards. Bringing hard-hitting critical hits and powerful flat buffs to quickly knock out foes, this duo aims to hit fast, hit hard, and win the match before they tap out the round. Let's go over these cards now before the round ends and the bell rings. Every fighter needs a coach, and Keith finds himself playing the role for Gast's mission. The Mentor's first skill is a critical rate buff with a massive flat buff for one ally and 2 stacks for the entire team. It has a surprisingly low cooldown of 3 turns for its effect, disregarding the 2-turn initial cooldown at level 60. The flat buff itself has 100% uptime, making this a powerful support skill for any DPS carrying the team. Keith's second skill is another set of offense buffs, providing a stack of critical damage up and damage mod versus cool foes every 3 turns, and also has a 2-turn initial cooldown at level 60. Fair for its targets, but the low cooldown is especially nice for how significant these buffs are in increasing overall damage. Complementing Keith's simple kit is his burst skill with a large tier damage modifier against cool foes. It's weaker than the usual massive tier modifier for burst skills, but I suppose Keith had to be lazy somewhere. To really hammer home Keith's coaching support is his Paralink skill, providing amazing 100% damage link for Gast as well as a burst gauge link to help the rookie fire off more burst skills. Normally, a critical hit rate link is preferred, but the mentor skills make that unnecessary if you're supporting a single DPS. That link type instead goes to Marion, Dino, and Ashe. You could see some use with Dino, and by extension Ashe if you use the latter's Mahjong card, but otherwise don't expect too much out of a 40% critical hit rate link. The team-wide Passion Member attack boost is another nice buff to round off this great skill set, and Fight Club Keith is an excellent single target supporter for almost any DPS card focusing on critical damage. Unfortunately, the massive critical rate buff won't be useful for the cards who provide their own boost, which are usually the cards that can generate BP upon landing critical hits. That doesn't diminish Fight Club Keith's utility, however, as the damage mod and critical damage stacks are always useful, and the critical hit rate stacks shine if the fight lasts past the 3rd turn with his very short cooldowns. The only improvement I'd make is adding a BP regeneration stack onto his second skill. But otherwise, it's hard to complain about this card's general usability. Most of Keith's frames lean towards a DPS role or have overlapping effects, but his wedding frame is a nice supplement to this card's critical damage stacks. It also has a short cooldown of 4 turns at max limit break for an event reward frame. If you miss the event or its rerun, then the hunting frame is another option, as Fight Club Keith doesn't need his BP for anything and his burst skill hits like a wet noodle. However, the card's attack stat is high due to his rarity, so you can certainly get some mileage out of the frame with multiple normal attacks. If you're a dedicated West fan and dug into the Memorial Order, then the Chapter 2 Memorial frame is another alternative. With the same cooldowns as Fight Club Keith's skills, the extra stack of damage mod against cool foes will help your allies hit that much harder for both short and long fights. There's not much to say. Once Keith empowers his allies with whatever frame you choose, no cool attribute boss will stick around for long. This North rookie is ready to rumble with his rock hard fists in his newest passion card, a DPS carry excelling in short fights. Gast's first skill is a self buff that increases his attack and debuffs his defense, while also giving him a strong critical damage flat buff for 3 turns. He'll hit hard if he lands a critical hit, but the 20% defense debuff will hold a low investment Fight Club Gast against hard-hitting bosses. The rookie's second skill is a 1-turn stun that also provides Gast a damage modifier against stunned foes, and notably gives him a buff that generates BP for Gast whenever he lands a critical hit. The stun itself can protect Gast for a turn while his first skill is active, which is vital when he's at low investment. The kicker is the massive initial and base cooldown for this skill, which make it infeasible for long fights unless Fight Club Gast is maxed out. The 4-turn initial cooldown at base is atrocious, locking out half of this card's skill set until turn 4, where most flat buffs fall off. Fight Club Gast's burst skill has a massive tier base modifier with an enemy bonus modifier depending on how low his HP is. It's certainly useful if the fight goes on past the 3rd turn, but it will be a challenge to balance his HP at low investment levels. Wrapping up this card's skill set is his Link skills, boosting Keith's burst gauge gain and damage by up to 300% and 50% respectively. It's a respectable pair Link, though Gast's Banner Buddy lacks the damage output to be significant outside of this event. On the other hand, the damage boosting Link for Marion is nice, as both Gast and Marion are paired together quite often, though a Link with Dino and Ash is much less likely. While Fight Club Gast can perform decently well in long-term fights, the mix between his long cooldowns and buff uptime make him best suited for short fights, just like a boxer in a ring. His initial cooldowns strongly encourage multiple limit breaks, which is a significant cost for any free-to-play. Gast's BP generation buff alone has horrible uptime even at max limit break, only available 3 out of 8 turns with a 2-turn initial cooldown. On the other hand, keeping him with no or few limit breaks blocks Gast's second skill until the 4th turn without any cooldown reduction effects. He'll also be very fragile with the defense debuff, which might help you get Gast into enemy range, but he can also be knocked out if you're not careful. He's reliant on a critical rate buffer to do his job and will struggle to perform without one compared to other DPS cards. Can we patch up the holes in Fight Club Gast's skillset using frames? Not completely, as Gast doesn't have any frames that can enable his enmity passive on turn 1, nor does he have any cooldown reducing frames. Instead, focus on supporting his offensive potential for the few turns where Gast is at full power. His Waterfront frame is a balanced choice that heals all allies while also giving the team SP Orb regeneration for 5 turns. While this buff won't ever have 100% uptime with its cooldown, the passive more than makes up for it if you can limit break this frame. A premium alternative is the Chapter 10 Memorial frame, providing 3 stacks of damage modifier against cool foes for a single ally. Assuming you remove the initial cooldown with limit breaks, this 4-turn cooldown frame skill ramps very quickly and can cover some of the gaps in Gast's kit during his first few turns. Finally, a budget option exists in Gast's New Year's Show frame, as it provides a single ally 3 attack orbs and converts them into SP orbs. It has a 5-turn cooldown at max limit break, and getting topped off with SP orbs on demand is a very strong effect for a low rarity frame. Just remember to put Gast in the first slot of the team for both this and the previous suggestion if full auto is turned on, so that the game automatically targets the rookie by default. For general usage, Keith is the card to go for, but if you got plenty of support cards to back up a max invested Fight Club Gast, he'll put in serious work in knocking out any future cool bosses on Expert Plus difficulty. That's all for this review, and if it was helpful, I'd appreciate if you subscribe to the channel or the socials. Otherwise, I'll see you all in the next video.